Good morning and welcome to all of Bette's extended friends and family in the Miami, South Florida community and friends who are not able to be with us today but are watching online by Zoom. My name is Lori Kathleen Eshen Pipes. I am the middle child, and on behalf of my whole family, I welcome you and thank you for coming to celebrate the life of our dear beloved Elizabeth Ann. Um, Vizcaya has been so gracious to allow us to have this event here. They opened the facility to the public at 9:30. So at 9:20, the reflections will come to an end. We will sing our final song and we will be go out with blessing so that we have time to move the benches back where they need to be when the general public comes in. But we can continue to greet each other on the patio. It's just the furniture that we need to worry about. So, with that in thought, this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Please join me in singing For the Beauty of the Earth in your program. For the beauty of the earth, for the glory of the sky, for the love which from above over and around us lies. Lord of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the joy of human love, brother, sister, parent, child, and on earth and friends above, for all gentle thoughts and mild. Lord of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. Martha, the Johnny, you have the biblical passages?
Yes, I do.
If there is there anybody who would like to read the Psalm 23 or First Corinthians? Is any wonderful? Thank you. Come up and read Psalm 23. Thank you so much.
I don't have it together. That was such a
The Psalm. The Psalm.
okay. The Lord is my shepherd; I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. He ladeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley, I fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou presentest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Thank you so much. You're welcome.
When I was being mean to Elizabeth Ann, I called her Lazy Lizzie. It was mean because it wasn't true. She wasn't lazy, and she wasn't Lizzie. She also wasn't Beth, and she would give anyone the evil eye who called her that. She was Bette, the youngest of three daughters of a Presbyterian minister and an elementary school librarian. A sweet, chubby blonde girl. As she got older and her hair darkened, the father of Cindy's best friend nicknamed Bette Cindy's Sister Brown and called me Cindy's Sister Red. Bette and I were just a year and a half apart. Once Cindy went off to school, we did almost everything together, playing quietly with our dolls upstairs while my dad worked downstairs in his office, following him on his errands and being rewarded for being good girls with praise and sweets. And my father had a sweet tooth. That was not a difficult task for him. After Bette outgrew the crib, she and I shared a twin bed in the nursery until one day I decided I wanted to sleep in the guest room, full-size bed. Not too long afterwards, Bette got lonely and decided to join me in the guest room. We shared that full-size bed until I went away to college. Whereas many of my childhood friends had posters of Donny Osmond and David Cassidy on their walls. Since Bette liked Clark Gable and I liked Errol Flynn, we had a picture of Clark Gable on our wall. They're impossible dreams. Why not go for it? It doesn't matter if they're dead, right? As children, we were often either with my dad at church or my mom at school. After school, we would hang out in the library, either helping my mom by shelving books or reading in a cozy corner in the easy section. When my mother worked in a summer library, we helped out there too. Sometimes we'd put on puppet shows. But we weren't quiet all of the time. We sang. We sang in choirs at church even before we could read. We watched musicals and sang along to the albums over and over again. We went Christmas caroling around the neighborhood, with or without friends. When we took long car trips, we sang through every song we knew. When we asked my dad for requests, he'd say, "Could you sing Far, Far Away?" And when we couldn't understand the big words in musicals, we made them up. So there was an occasion when my parents had some friends over, and my sisters and I, who were the ages of the three youngest Von Trapp children, we sang all the seven children's parts in So Long Farewell. And I have no idea what we sang for. Regretfully, they tell us, but firmly they compel us. We slurred our way through that. But Bette was always as cute as ever, pushing herself up the stairs like Gretel in the song. That was an image that stays in my mind. When our family joined First Presbyterian of Fort Lauderdale, we sang in its choirs through high school. Through the Kirk Singers, Bette and I traveled on summer tours throughout the U.S. and Europe. One year, Bette and I saw Annie after it opened on Broadway and Old Montreal. The next year, we saw Hearst Castle and San Francisco. And we performed in church musicals. Bette loved performing so much that after I went away to college, she transferred to Dillard High School of Performing Arts. The last choir tour that Bette and I took together, we visited the Grand Canyon. We sat together on a rock and watched the sun set. We watched the sun set over the canyon. We were so sad that our childhood together was ending because I would leave for college in a few months. We were very close, so close that we completed each other's sentences, perhaps too close. My leaving gave Bet a chance to find her own path, faltering sometimes, as we all do, but she developed so many valuable talents and made so many interesting friends along the way. I miss my sister. Thank you.
Hi. Thank you all for being here. I'd like to share a story as well, and anybody else that would like to share a fond memory, please. Oh, there's a section for that. My brother.
We have to have order.
He has order. I have chaos. I didn't get it from my mother. So for my 21st birthday, many, many moons ago, I said, I don't want anything at all. I would just like to go to Napa. And my mom said, okay, sure, let's go to Napa. And Bette came with us, and we visited Lori in California. I missed my flight, but somehow slept right through it. Somehow got on a flight there. My mother, who had waited for me at the airport, got laid over in Texas. So I arrived not too late. Bette picked me up. We drove up to Napa together. My mother's still in Texas for the night. Maybe I share too many qualities with my aunt because we really shouldn't be left alone together. We checked into the hotel, went straight to the bar. And before you knew it, we were friends with everybody in the whole bar. Quite a night. Vowed never to tell my mother about the shenanigans that went on the night before. Woke up alone in a hotel room with a door partially cracked. That nowhere to be found. She had decided to sleep in the car. Sombrero next to me. The sheets had been clawed at, but not fully gotten into. And then that night they said, how was last night? We said, oh, we had a nice, quiet night, just the two of us. Nobody believed that. But then our cover was blown when my mom said, oh, let's go check out the bar at the hotel. We walked in and the whole bar went, Bette! Jackie, you're back! They were like, oh, this was to be expected. But it was a great trip, and I hold so many fond memories of that trip. It was lovely, and a lot of other fond memories of my aunt. When I was growing up, I would call her girlfriend, and then she would always call me girlfriend throughout my life. Yeah, and I'm sad. I'm sure as many of you also are sad, but I know she's with her daddy in heaven, with my daddy too, probably sitting on a beach, drinking a beer, smoking a joint, listening to Jimmy Buffett. Is there a section for this?
Yeah.
Always the organized one.
Well, it's a hard act to follow.
Always is.
But then again, that's been the story of my life.
Doing that your whole life, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Shannon beats me to my own joke. But what can I say about that? Except that she was a great aunt, and that was fun. And she was welcoming to everyone. When I was showing South Florida to my partner, who was from Oregon, a few years ago, that met up with us at a beer garden and treated her like she was already family.
Also, as you can tell by my shirt, somebody's already asked me, "Oh, are you from Books and Books?" I am not, but that got me this shirt. I feel like I am. I felt like it because Bette has given me so many books from there over the years. And this shirt a couple of years ago, which she kept asking my mom, is he a large or a medium shirt? And I was like, I don't know at this point. Some things change size. But it's one of the most comfortable shirts I've ever owned. And, you know, now I've never been able to wear it without thinking about it, but now it has, you know, even more sentiment. Bette, as you all know, loved to travel. And when she was so excited when I told her in 2010, in somewhat original fashion, that I was going to spend the summer after my freshman year of college studying German in Germany and generally putzing around Western Europe. The night before I left, Bette drove up to help me and my mom pack and reminisce about our own travels, which included Portugal. And in true fashion, she brought a lot of beer, and that was the best send off I could have asked for. And Bette loved poetry, and so Martha has asked me to read this poem, but I need to go over there and grab it. So one moment. No. This is an abridged version of A Psalm of Life by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. With the heart of the young man said to the psalmist, "Tell me not in mournful numbers, life is but an empty dream. For the soul is dead that slumbers, and things are not what they seem. Life is real, life is earnest, and the grave is not its goal. Dust thou out art, to dust returnest, was not spoken of the soul. Lives of great men all remind us, we can make our lives sublime, and departing leave behind us footprints on the sands of time. Footprints that perhaps another, sailing over life's solemn main, a forlorn and shipwrecked brother, seeing shall take heart again. Let us then be up and doing, with a heart for any fate, still achieving, still pursuing, learn to labor and to wait." Thank you. Oh, is it me again? Yeah, I'll read Corinthians. No, that I need, Lori, I need your copy. Oh, I didn't,
We're extremely organized here, so we
Yep.
appreciate your patience.
I claim order, but it's less than I would have hoped. And here is a reading from Corinthians. If I speak in the tongues of mortals and of angels, but I do not have love, I am a noisy going or a clanging cymbal. And if I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith so as to remove mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give away all my possessions, and if I hand over my body so that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. Love is patient, love is kind, love is not envious or boastful or arrogant or rude, does not insist on its own way, is not irritable or resentful, does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth. Bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. And as for prophecies, they will come to an end. As for tongues, they will cease. As for knowledge, it will come to an end. For we know only in part, and we prophesy only in part. But when the complete comes, the partial will come to an end. When I was a child, I spoke like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became an adult, I put an end to childish ways. Well, some of us did. For now we see in a mirror dimly, but then we will see face to face. Now I know only in part, then I will know fully, even as I have fully known. And now faith, hope, and love abide. These three, and the greatest of these is love. Oh, wait, sorry. I can hear you. I can hold that if you want.
All right, my makeshift mic stand here. childhood living is easy to do. The things that you wanted, I bought them for you. Graceless lady, you know who I am. No, I can't let you slide through my hands. Wild horses couldn't drag me away. Wild horses couldn't drag me away. I watch you suffer the ache and pain. Now you decided to show me the sign. No sweet bed exits. Oh, off stage lines make me feel bitter. Treat you unkind. Wild horses couldn't drag me away. Wild, wild horses couldn't drag me away. I know I've trained you a stand alive. I have my freedom, but I don't have much time. Faith is not broken, but tears will be cried. Let's do some living after we die. Wild horses couldn't drag me away. Wild, wild horses, we'll ride them someday.
That would have loved that.
Amen.
That was the talented Jim Camacho. And now we are opening up the mic. We have 15 minutes or so for anybody who would like to come and say a word or two about that. But if, oh, what timing? I see the frogs have something to say.
Exactly.
Okay, we have 20 minutes. But if if not, that's okay. I just also ask that everyone at the mic please keep your mask on. It'll pick it up anyway. Thank you.
the Books and Books
You're the Books and Books connection.
Oh, this is a hard day. Bette and I have known each other 30 years. We're a group of friends that met on Miami Beach. We're a small group, but it expanded over the years because we all traveled, we met people, our friends became our friends. So many of them are Zooming. Hi, everybody. That was so optimistic all of the time. She taught us how to be kind people. She always saw the goodness in people and reminded us that everybody is our friend. She helped everybody who needed help. She was there for me when I broke my ankle. My friends came over to motherize my house, and I hadn't seen that for a while, so I went to look for her, and she was in the bathroom scrubbing my grout with a toothbrush. So that's the kind of friend she was, and she worked with me at Books and Books. She loved books, and every Miami Book Fair, she would come and help me collect cash and go check on all my staff, and they loved her, and she worked with us for a while, and so many of them had such fond memories and shared them with me in the last couple of days. We're gonna miss her so much. Her laugh and her smile. I love when she laughed like a good hearty Bette laugh. It was wonderful. So my heart goes out to you, Martha, so much. And I wish I could give you a hug, but maybe next time. So that's all. Oh, one other thing. We had a love of Florida. We like to tell people that we were the original Florida girls. And some people would say, oh yeah, I'm from Florida. And we would test them if they knew the Florida song. Does anybody here know the Florida song? I want to wake up in the morning where the orange blossoms grow, where the sun comes peeping into where I'm sleeping and the songbirds sing hello, hello. I love the fresh air and the sunshine. It's so good for us, you know. So I'll make my home in Florida where the orange blossoms grow. I probably will never sing that song with anybody again. That was my Florida girl song. That and the Miami Dolphins song. Anyway, it's so nice to see everybody here remembering that she was one of a kind.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
Next person. Don't be shy.
Don't be shy. It's okay. Come on up. I'd like to hear from some of her friends here at Vizcaya about some of the things she did here with you. Is anybody from Vizcaya who'd like to tell us about her life here? Come on up. Thank you.
Morning, everyone. I'm glad to see the folks here from Vizcaya and also the folks outside of Vizcaya here to remember Bette. Now, of course, I've not known her for particularly as long as many of you might have, but at her time at Vizcaya, Beth has taught me a lot of lessons. She is, of course, my senior as a guide here, and from just the look of her eye and her personality, I've learned to take those lessons as I see the world around me, to see it with that fire of compassion and a little bit of craziness to go along with it as as you tackle on just the people around you and join with them into sort of impart knowledge and just happy moments in our day-to-day lives. While Beth was here, I would always enjoy talking with her at the end of the tours, talking about the interesting personalities that we run into and just the lessons that we can take for ourselves. And she would often go and after a heavy tour, just roll her eyes at me like, oh, I need a beer. uh, I could always imagine that she would come by and she, not to out her out, but she'd bring orange juice. But, and she'd give me a wink when she'd bring it. I'm like, yeah. Yeah. That's how that. And I didn't know she was such a lover of books, but it all makes so much sense. She would actually help me start building my own personal library this last year, and the books that she has given me, I will now, and of course I would have, but I would cherish them forever. And actually, one interesting thing, one of the books that she gave me actually had a collection of really eclectic drawings. I'm not sure if she was herself an artist, but she was always someone that no matter what she would give you, it was always with that tinge of surprise and an unexpected fortune. And I'm very sad that that is now gone from us. Thank you all for being here.
Anybody else want to come in and tell us about your? She had a wide range circle of acquaintances here in South Florida. At on the beach, she worked at Wet Willie's. She um, had friends in the community, theater community, had friends in the arts community, and if any people from some of her other communities would like to come up and say something, just a little something, just a little something.
My name is Eric Fliss. I was with as her boyfriend back in the mid '80s, and all this has just given me a chance to reflect back on what a great person she was. And although it didn't work out for us, because of the way who Bette was, actually, when Bette and I were friends, we were friends with Vince and his girlfriend at the time. And so, Bette was one of these types after we were no longer together. I I would never be shy about introducing the person I was with to my old girlfriend Bette, because everybody could see immediately that she was such a loving person and non-judgmental. And actually now, as right before I married Roberta, my current wife, um, I was a kind of single guy flying around South Beach, and I was like, oh, let me ride my bike over to Wet Willie's and see if I could catch Bette, you know? We hadn't seen each other in a while, and every couple of years we try to run into each other, just catch up. And so I went over there, and there she was behind the bar, and she's slipping me drinks and getting me hammered. And I'm telling her about, this girl I'm dating, and how much in love I am, and how great it is. And she's, you could just see that she's truly happy for me. And a couple of months later, when Roberta and I did get together, I said, hey, let's go to the beach and let's go see a friend of mine, Bette. And we went upstairs, and there she was, tending the bar, everybody's best friend, slipping us drinks, getting us hammered. And, it was like every 2 or 3 years I would run into her somewhere. Our lives would cross. Vince actually did some art installation where I work. We ran into him in a wine festival, and we would always, kind of see each other and hug, and enjoy each other, just because it was the type of person that she was. On a completely separate note that nobody has mentioned, and I don't know if it happened for everybody else but when Bette and I were together, she was like a narcoleptic. She could fall asleep anywhere, anywhere, at any time. And she fell asleep at like historic events. We were at a party for Super Bowl between the Bills and the Giants. 20 people screaming and yelling, and there's Bet on the couch, just out like everybody signed her pants with their predictions of their football scores and their favorite teams, and and then she came to the theater one time. We were working on a play that was based on the story of Vietnam, and we decided we were going to get the largest speakers we can find and put them under the seats and speakers in the ceiling so it sounded like helicopters flying over. And there we are one of these nights doing late night tech, and I look over, and with her head in front of a speaker, there's just lying asleep with airplanes flying over and helicopters, you know. And the only way I could wake her up is I could tell her that the Pillsbury cookies in the oven are ready, and she would jerk awake because she'd often put them in the oven when we lived together and fall asleep and wake up to smoke in the house. So that cue always kind of woke her up. So, you know, I laugh because I say I didn't have any like humorous or cute stories because I'm not a funny guy, but that was such a doll. She brought out the best in everybody. So thank you for letting me share.
And I should note that my sister started waiting at Swenson's when she was a teenager, around the time I went away to college, and she'd often come home so exhausted from work that she wouldn't get to bed. She'd just fall asleep on the couch. So we'd often come in with Bette first thing in the morning, stretched out. We got to calling her our horizontal sister. Any other community people who wanted to say something? Come on out. That's fine. That's fine. Just a few words. We have about 3 minutes, I think. That works.
I have the privilege of knowing Bette through my friend Squirrel. And the reason I'm up here is because of her mom. The reason that we need to rejoice her life is because her mom and dad experienced Jesus. That the reason we're so excited to be here is because we know that you're in heaven. Sometimes you go to a funeral or a memorial and you don't know if the person went up or down. And because of your beautiful parents and the faith that you had in Jesus Christ, you're in heaven, and I'm going to see you soon. Amen.
My mom asked me to make sure that her spouse, Vince Morazovich, his name was mentioned. That continued to be known by Pipes, but she and Vince have been happily married for 15 years, and the last few years have been a bit of a challenge. He had a stroke a few years ago, and it's been really stressful for her. It's been a lot of stress on her, and my dad died of Alzheimer's dementia just 2 years ago, and my older sister has a degenerative illness. And so, with all of these different needs and cares tugging on her, she was always giving so much to others and not putting off the needs of her own. They were never as pressing as those of those she cared about. So I want to make sure that we remember that Vince is the love of her life, and he cannot be with us today. He is now in a skilled nursing facility, and his family has been wonderful helping us in this past week, getting all sorts of details settled for him. If there are any other people who would like to say something about that, we have about 2 minutes. Something brief would be lovely. Yes, please come up.
I didn't prepare anything, so I'm not sure how succinct I'm going to be. But my name is Allison O'Neill, and I worked with Bette on many plays and hung around backstage during many productions and sat at many bars after many productions. Um, Back in late 80s, early 90s. And so when I came, it was a very formative time in my life when I met that. I was, I think, 19, and the Acme people were older, which of course now it's doesn't matter, but back then it seemed to matter a lot. And I came in and it was pretty intimidating, and she was just, as everyone's saying, as a common theme, she just radiated something so special that made everyone feel comfortable, that made everyone feel important, that made everyone feel at ease. And her quirkiness and her just really genuine, just so genuine in her heart and her interaction with people. I never felt anything but comfortable around her, and um, it was really special having her as a part of that group. She was very special to all of us, really an integral personality. We needed someone like her, with all the personalities that we had in our group. We needed someone like her, someone to ground us. And even the roles that she played were kind of these wide-eyed, a sense of innocence along with awareness, and she brought that to the roles that she played on stage. And I'm just so appreciative that I met her at that time in my life. And I'll never forget when she invited a bunch of us over for shells at Eric's house, and we made shells. And I was like, oh, I'm initiated now. Like, I've been invited over to the apartment for shells. I'm in. And I just felt so welcome, and it was something that was really important to me at that time in my life. And I'll never forget all those times that we spent together, and just how important she was in that Acme family that was such a special thing, and at that special time in our lives.
We are going to close with Amazing Grace. I just wanted to mention that there are many songs and poems and scriptures over the years that have been very relevant to Bette. I chose For the Beauty of the Earth to open with, not only because of the beautiful setting where we are, and not only to talk about friends on earth and friends above, but also because that's a song that Bette and I sang very often when we were in high school in choir. The choir would sing it right at the entrance to the church right before the service started, and that was one that Bette and Cindy and I all sang and loved. And also, 1 Corinthians 13 is also one that Bette and I, when we were in choir together, we dressed up in white leotards and white skirts and did our interpretive and one of the interpretive things we interpreted was 1 Corinthians 13. So we both have a special place in our heart for that. So thank you for sharing. And these family members and community, I'm sure you have other songs and poems that you could think of that have come up over many years that you connect with that. So let us close with a couple of verses of Amazing Grace. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saves a soul like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. When we've been there 10,000 years, as shining as the sun, we've And now go out into the world in peace. Render no one evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted. Heal the afflicted. Honor all persons. Blessings.
Thank you, everyone who joined us on the webcast who could not make it. And God be with you.